Hey, welcome back to No Hype Beer Reviews. Unless it's your first time, then welcome. Please consider subscribing. If you do, hit that notification bell somewhere over there, I think. You get all the updates. So I figured I'd do a review, or not review, I'm sorry, a video about the review. So for each of the five, I don't kind of regurgitate too much. So I want to talk about a little bit of the history of how this came to be and what's in the beers and the partnership, blah, 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 blah. So, I found out about these guys basically last summer, real quick. I've told the story before. I was with my wife at the local, I guess like a beer bar, but they have nice food and all that stuff. But anyway, we had two different flights. We had 8 beers, and the best beer on the flight was from these guys. So I sent them a message on Instagram like, hey, you guys won best flight, which we never do. Like, that's not a thing my wife and I do. But we both were like, yeah, out of the 8 beers, this is the best. And they're like, oh, no, thanks. I appreciate it. If you ever come up to the brewery, give me a heads up. If I'm around, I'll show you around. So I'm like, well, it's summer. I'm a teacher. I'm off. I come up tomorrow. He's like, yeah, sure. So got up there, met the co-owner, Kurt. Super awesome guy. He was a teacher, actually, before he quit to be full-time head brewer there. And his business partner, the other owner, is still teaching. So that was pretty rad. And met the other two brewers that were there, all really cool guys, the whole process. They have it down. Very cool. And I'll talk about that more in a second. So, definitely been a fan of theirs. Probably my favorite local brewery. They're about 40 minutes from my house, so I kind of think like probably maybe anything within an hour is local brewery. But yeah, like super good dudes. Really like them, like their stuff. Reviewed, I think, 3 or 4 of their things. But anyway, okay, so a beer I did not have. Last year for Extreme Beer Festival, so 2019, they had, which is going on right now for 2020. Like literally, as I'm recording this, it's happening in Boston. They wanted to put some Warheads into a beer for that, right? Extreme Beer Fest, right? You got to do something crazy, and they reached out to Warheads, and communication was open. Warheads sent them a bunch of the candy to put into the beer, and these guys had a contact at Warheads, right? So this year they reached out and they're like, hey, we're thinking about doing a beer for all of the 5 Warhead flavors. I think there's only 5. I actually didn't do any research about Warheads. And they're like, yeah. So that's why they're allowed to use the labeling, right? Because maybe a month or two ago, they had like a Jolly Rancher inspired series, but they changed the name enough, cease and desist stuff, right? So when I saw this online, and I was like, that's not even like parody at all. That's like that's the exact same logo, guys, And then I was like, I found out that no, they're actually partnered with Warhead, so it's like totally above board. They're not gonna get a cease and desist. So they brewed their base sour, which they call she's tart, like she's tart. And typically they put some lactose in that to add a little bit of sweetness, round out that a sour tart thing. And for this, like, it's Warheads. We're not going to add the lactose. We want it, to be as tart as possible. So, all right, they got the tartness. The head brewer there, Kurt, like I mentioned, he was eating different Warheads, trying to understand the flavor profiles. And for him, there was the extreme sour tartness, then the flavor, like the 5 flavors, right? And then sweetness. He knew he could get the tartness. He didn't know how at the end maybe to get that sweetness to come back, or not even to come back, just to emerge. And then they actually, again, partnering up with these guys, were able to get the syrup for the flavor. So these actually have the Warheads candy syrup in them. If you watch my channel a lot, I like when beer has real stuff in it. And these guys totally are the same kind of people. They like to put, real ingredients in their beers. But they also, like me, like having fun sometimes, and they don't have super strict rules either. So they're like, well, yeah, like we want it to taste like the thing, so we're going to use the thing, and we're allowed to use the thing. So really cool. And then the other thing I want to talk about that when I met them, and the real reason I even brought that up, besides just to give them a shout out because they are really cool people, they have like different kinds of labels, and if you watch the other beers I've reviewed from them, like their oat series, Totes My Goats, they have like, talk about cease and desist stuff. They have a parody of the Quaker Oats guy with their faces in it. Basically like almost like in a cardboard cutout, right? You put your face through it. And they were like, yeah, that's like an Instagrammable logo, like label, I should say. They have their regular one, and that's like beers that I could get at the grocery store around me pretty easily, right? And then they have like the can art for their sour beers, and then they have what they think might pop on social media. So talk about popping on social media. You have the actual Warheads wording, a caricature. You have your own name at the top. Really cool. Able to do all 5. So I'm going to do the lemon one first, not in this video. It'll be a separate video. Because this one doesn't have food coloring in it, so that way we can kind of see what the base beer looks like before these 4. Although the lemon still has the syrup for the taste, he did then also add food dye to make it look the right color. So I thought this would make the most sense to do first, because then we can see what it would look like out the tank before this. I think that's all the stuff I wanted to say. And again, like I didn't want to like say this every time before the video, so I'll probably refer back to this video in those videos. But yeah, really excited. Like I said, I'm going to do them right in a row, so one a day. So I'll release this video, the next day I'll release lemon, and then I don't know the order after that. But any questions about this, I can try to answer. They're very good. If you reach out to Artisanal Brew Works, is a brewery. Actually, did I even mention that? They're very good about getting back to you and all of that as well. And they did say if this goes well enough, they'll both reevaluate, both companies, and if they can, do it another time, a little bit bigger of a distribution. Right now, it's just picking it up at the brewery. So yeah, but yeah. Thanks for watching. I always appreciate that. Check me out on Instagram on Tapped. No hype reviews at both those places. So please like, comment, subscribe. Most importantly, try weird beer. Cheers.